welcome. Thank you for joining. Shout out to Victor. I'm doing shout outs. Write your name in the chat if you want a shout out. Shout out to Victor. Thank you for joining. Shout out to Devonta. Oh, sorry. Shout out to Vontae. Shout out to Alisa. Shout out to Julianne. Or Julian, sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Kinsley. Leave a like if you enjoy the live stream. Shout out to Noor. Shout out to Hal. Shout out to Elsiana. Shout out to Amaya. Shout out to Maggie. Shout out to Audrey. Shout out to Amor. Shout out to Dilbar. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Goofy little salon glow. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Please forgive me. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Jessica. Like and subscribe if you like the shout outs. Shout out to Isra. Shout out to Zara. Shout out to Dilshoda. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Vanessa. Shout out to Cherry. Shout out to Jendai. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Soraya. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the shout outs. Shout out to Asher. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Angela. Shout out to Riva. Oh, I didn't. Oops, sorry. Shout out to Sunflower. Shout out to Maya. Shout out to Abiha. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Yaman. Shout out to Rudra. Shout out to Paris. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Let's try to get to 100 likes, please. Shout out to Jesus. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Mira. Shout out to Emiliano. Shout out to Abello. Shout out to Marley. Shout out to Oliver. Like and subscribe if you enjoy my shout outs. Shout out to Agni. Shout out to Brianna. Shout out to Michelle. Shout out to Daphne. Shout out to Kennedy. Shout out to Skylar. Shout out to Evelyn. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Paul. Shout out to Allison. Shout out to Hassan. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Scarlett. Shout out to Carly. Shout out to Jessica. Shout out to Lucy. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Arisha. Like and subscribe if you enjoy my shout outs. Shout out to Raisha. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Agni. Shout out to Dax. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Amari. Shout out to Carly. Shout out to Aniel. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Michaela. Shout out to Conway. Leave a like if you enjoyed this live stream. Let's try to get to 100 likes. Shout out to Faith. Shout out to Melissa. Shout out to Princey. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Pari. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to these people. Like and subscribe if you enjoy my live streams. I also post other content. I hope you could check it out. On to the next page. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Emmy. Shout out to Riley. Shout out to Rory. Shout out to Skylar. Shout out to Javier or Xavier. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Gabriella. Shout out to Miracle. Shout out to Ashlyn. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Anissa. Shout out to Yaretsi. Shout out to Exon. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Haven. Shout out to Raul. Shout out to Aaliyah. Shout out to Princey. Shout out to David. Shout out to Junior Boy. Shout out to Tessa. Write your name in the comments if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Nano. Shout out to Isabella. Shout out to Rebecca. Oops, I messed up the A. Shout out to Abby. Shout out to Chrislyn. Shout out to Dahlia. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Autumn. Shout out to Tiana. Happy birthday. Shout out to Oopsie Daisy. Shout out to Fear. Shout out to Nezuko. Shout out to Cassie. Shout out to Ariana. Shout out to Casey. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Tia. Shout out to Rinku. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Francis. Let's try to get to 100 likes. Shout out to Henna. Shout out to Shadadi. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Please forgive me. Shout out to Rosa. Shout out to Pebbles. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Zenitsu. Shout out to Rainier. We're only 25 likes away from 100. Shout out to Mark. Shout out to Sunny. Shout out to Aaliyah. Shout out to Hallie. Shout out to Lana. Shout out to Adeline. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Farhan. Shout out to May. Shout out to Alice. Shout out to Aiden. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Ten Hero. Shout out to Esty. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Jackson. Shout out to Dennis. Shout out to Jacqueline. Shout out to Joseph. Shout out to Hazel. Shout out to Fahar. Whoops, I messed up. Shout out to Camila. Shout out to Dixie. Shout out to Maxine. Shout out to Michelle. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Morgan. Shout out to Atta. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy my shout outs. Also check out my other content. I hope you can support me. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Sidra. Shout out to Maham. Shout out to Ginger. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Nguyen. Shout out to Claire. Shout out to Rinku. Shout out to Ernesto. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Andy. Shout out to Jennifer. Shout out to Asher. Shout out to CJ. Shout out to Sabrina. Shout out to Abby. We're only 8 likes away from 100 likes. Shout out to Cassidy. Shout out to Gary. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Scarlett Howard. Shout out to Ezekiel. Shout out to Simi. Shout out to Salma. Shout out to Jason. Shout out to Brisha. Shout out to Emmy. Shout out to Minu. Shout out to Harriet. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Stray Kids. Shout out to Summer. Shout out to Pari. Shout out to Sky. Shout out to Denise. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Rosemary. Shout out to Addie. Shout out to Allison. Shout out to Rima. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Jihan. Shout out to Angie. Shout out to Yareli. Shout out to Violet. Shout out to Celine. Shout out to Juliana. Shout out to Isabella. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Janelle. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Heaven. Shout out to Cavelli. Shout out to Elena. Shout out to Rensu. Shout out to Arham. Shout out to Leo. Shout out to Lana. Shout out to Teddy. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Heather. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to Yamilet. Shout out to Valerie. Shout out to Deegan. Shout out to Arlie. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Grace. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Josie. Whoops. Josie. Shout out to Morgan. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Priscilla. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Caitlin. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Hannah. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Layla. Thank you for subscribing. Or Lila. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Bree. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Amelia. Thank you for subscribing and happy early birthday. Shout out to Kavea. Thank you for subscribing. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Maylee. Thank you for subscribing. Or Miley. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. On to the next page. Like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. Shout out to Michelle. Shout out to Rosemary. Shout out to Frankie. Shout out to Sana. Shout out to Harper. Shout out to Joey. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Darcy. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying my content. Shout out to Kamaya. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Aster. Let's try to get to 200 likes. We're almost there. Only 60 more likes. Shout out to Hawken. Shout out to Delilah. Shout out to Burfin. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Tina. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Bone. Shout out to Nilima. Thank you for subscribing. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Willow. Shout out to Tofa. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Aria. Shout out to Dolly. Shout out to Bailey. Thank you for subscribing. Leave a like. We're almost at 200 likes. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Jessica. Shout out to Weska. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Will. Shout out to Elisa. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Siam. Shout out to Tamoika. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Jeremy. Shout out to Barsha. Shout out to Bryson. Shout out to Bella. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Let's try to get to 200 likes. We're almost there. Shout out to Tootsie. Shout out to Rensley. Shout out to Jordan. Shout out to Milena. Shout out to Gary. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Dixie. Shout out to Rowan. Shout out to Camila. Shout out to Hannah. Shout out to Ajani. Shout out to Neymar. Shout out to Nicole. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Ocean. Shout out to Sun. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Fizz. Shout out to Athena. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. We're almost at 200. Shout out to Patroclus. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Patroclus. Shout out to Lisa. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Kanana. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Christian. Shout out to Camille. Shout out to Abira. Shout out to Ariel. Thank you for subscribing. We're almost at 200 likes. Only 9 more. Shout out to Laura. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Lorraine. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Bobette. Shout out to Lay. Shout out to Minnie. Shout out to Etta. Shout out to Male. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Jeffet. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Uriana. Shout out to Alexa. We're 1 like away from 200 likes. Shout out to Dan. Shout out to Zola. Shout out to Messiah. Shout out to these people. Thank you so much for 200 likes. On to the next page. Like and subscribe if you enjoy my shout outs. I also post other content, so please check it out if you have time. Thank you so much. Shout out to Joel. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Tay. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Hafsa. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ruben. Shout out to Umaisa. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Astrid. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Ruben. Shout out to Emily. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Zion. Shout out to Kathy. Shout out to Neymar. Shout out to Abira. Shout out to Khalil. Shout out to Alan. Shout out to John. Shout out to Shay or Shay. Shout out to Velam. Shout out to Miss Tolls. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Peyton. Shout out to Wolf. Shout out to Cindy. Shout out to Farah. Shout out to Kiaja. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Rima or Rima. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Sarah. Shout out to Sana. Shout out to Mimi. Shout out to Dream. Shout out to Rosalie. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Sierra. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Aiden. Shout out to Abby. Shout out to Mia. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Abel Mitch. Shout out to Rosalie. Shout out to Violet. Shout out to Kendall. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Bethany. Shout out to Unique. Shout out to Anaya. Shout out to Reen. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Ashley. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Willow. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Brittany. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Blas. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to, excuse me. Shout out to Emma. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Cream. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to King. Shout out to Abby. Thank you for subscribing. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Lot or Lottie. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Amira. Shout out to Paisley. Shout out to Rylan. Shout out to Kylo. Shout out to Isabel. Shout out to Connor. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Amir. Shout out to Audrey. Shout out to Sydney. Shout out to Catalea. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Nathan. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Ira. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Tharanga. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Anaya. Shout out to Sarah. Shout out to Sian. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Siani. Shout out to Josiah. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. On to the next page. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying my live streams. Also check out my other content that I post. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Natalia. Shout out to Kenji. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Jade. Shout out to Iris. Shout out to Ashton. Shout out to Saiji. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Samar. Shout out to Nada. Thank you for subscribing. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Harry. Shout out to Alondra. Shout out to Elias. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Cameron. Shout out to TJ. Shout out to Stella. Shout out to Gray. Shout out to David. Shout out to Cece. Shout out to Jaya. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Willa. Shout out to Emilia J. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Iva. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Marco. Shout out to Catalina. Shout out to Havea. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Kennedy. Shout out to Ophelia. Shout out to Jan. Shout out to Marcelo. Shout out to Carson. Shout out to Hadia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Julius. Shout out to Janaya. Shout out to Rhiannon. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Vega. Shout out to Cindy. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Carissa. Shout out to Aisha. Shout out to Rosvi. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Sorry, I messed up. Shout out to Kaylin. Shout out to Hattie. Shout out to River. Shout out to Iva. Shout out to Tina. Shout out to Dee. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Crystal. Shout out to Jenna. Shout out to Veronica. Shout out to Liana. Shout out to Arius or Arius. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Damien. Shout out to Tatiana. Shout out to Jelva. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ted. Shout out to Aiden. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Willow. Shout out to Liana. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Mariah. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Nikki. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Benjamin. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Ruby. Shout out to Lebo. Shout out to Oliver. Shout out to Rosalind. Shout out to Terry. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Zinnia. Shout out to these people. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Subscribe to my channel so you know when I live stream. I will live stream again tomorrow. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the time to write your name. I truly appreciate it. So please subscribe. Check out my other channel. I hope you like it. Take care. Have a great day or have a great night. Bye. See you next time.